Immigration from India to the United States.
The topics that will be discussed in this video center around the migration of Indians to the United States. These topics will include the history, reason, and significance of Indian migration to the United States, which theories of migration best describe it, and how migration of people is similar and different to the migration of Latin Americans to the United States.
The neoclassical economics approach most accurately describes Indian immigration to the United States, because many immigrants who move do so for the higher wages and better job opportunities.
Indian immigration is similar to that of Latin Americans because in both cases, the immigrants are looking for better opportunities. In most cases, both send money back to their home countries.
Immigrants from India began coming to the United States in the mid-19th century. They were mostly low-skilled farm workers.
As time went on, the numbers of Indians moving to the United States rose a great deal, and the population of Indian immigrants grew from 12,000 people in 1960 to over 2.4 million today.
With the numbers of Indian immigrants rising, so did their level of education and skill. Indians went from working primarily on farms 150 years ago to being the #1 recipients of the H-1B visa for highly skilled workers. This visa is granted to individuals who hold a bachelor's degree or higher or the foreign equivalent.
The Indian immigrant population is better educated than the American-born population in the United States, with roughly 31.6% of native-born Americans having a bachelor's degree or higher, and 52.1% of South and East Asian immigrants having the same level of education.
Each immigrant moves nations for a reason. These reasons can be categorized into two major categories: push factors and pull factors. Push factors are reasons that an immigrant's home nation is no longer appealing and makes them want to move or pushes them out.
Some push factors for Indians who move to the United States are that there are fewer job opportunities in India, as well as lower wages in comparison to those in the United States. There's a lot of pollution in India, resulting in poor air quality, especially those in big cities. It is also the second most populous nation in the world. Large cities are very crowded and unappealing to many.
The other category is pull factors. Pull factors are aspects of the country the immigrants are moving to that make it appealing and pulls the immigrants there. Pull factors or reasons to move to the United States for Indians include
more employment opportunities compared to those in India. There are on average higher wages in the United States than there are in India. Some other pull factors are solutions to the push factors mentioned before. Cities in the United States are not as crowded and the air quality is better than it is in Indian cities.
Many theories have been suggested to explain why migration occurs. Of these theories, the one that most accurately depicts the migration of Indians to the United States is the neoclassical economics approach. This theory says that migration occurs in response to fluctuating markets and people move to areas where wages are highest.
The neoclassical economics approach to immigration best describes the migration of Indians to the United States, because most Indians who are looking for jobs that have the highest wages. Jobs that require the level of education and skill that these immigrants possess typically have higher salaries than the second-tier jobs like work in the farming and manufacturing industries. Since most Indian immigrants are eligible to work for more pay, they're moving to find better opportunities. They will move to places where they have the highest wages and the best opportunities.
Latin American migration to the United States has been occurring in significant numbers since the late 19th century, when the Mexican government improved and remodeled Mexico's transportation system. This made it easier for many immigrants to reach the U.S.-Mexico border and cross into the United States. Since then, the immigration has continued, fluctuating throughout time, such as the drop during the Great Depression, as well as being affected by both the United States and Mexican government's efforts to reduce the amount of illegal immigration occurring. Illegal immigration is when an immigrant enters a country without a proper visa or documentation. Those who move from India and those who move from Latin American nations all do so to find a better life for themselves. They all search for more opportunities, whether those are social or financial. Many immigrants from both nations also send remittances back to their home country. A remittance is money that an immigrant sends back to their relatives in their country of origin.
Mexico and India are both among the top countries in the world when it comes to receiving remittances from relatives abroad. India is number one in the world, receiving 79 billion in remittances in 2018. Mexico is among the top nations, receiving 39 billion in remittances in 2018. Many people in India and Mexico rely on remittances as a source of income, and the money that they do receive from relatives abroad make a big impact on their life.
A difference between the immigration of Latin Americans to the United States as opposed to Indians is that a significant number of Indians from Mexico, Central, and South America enter the United States undocumented, while the majority of Indian immigrants arrive on visas and enter the country legally.
Roughly 43% of Mexican immigrants that entered in the United States in 2017 did so illegally. The issue with Indian immigrants is that while most Indians enter the country on a student or work visa, many continue to reside in the United States, even after their visa expired, and they are no longer legal residents.
Indian immigrants contribute greatly to the software and technology industry. About 58% of all software earnings in the United States are from the work of Indian immigrants. Indian immigrants represent about 1% of the overall United States population, yet 1/3 of the tech startups in Silicon Valley are founded by Indians. The work of Indian immigrants has become indispensable in the technology and software sector. If all Indian immigrants were to leave their jobs, the entire industry would collapse due to the dependence on Indian labor.
The self-employment levels of Indian immigrants is higher overall than that of native-born Americans. This means that more Indians are working for themselves in small businesses and employing others rather than working in larger companies. Self-employment and the promotion of small businesses benefit local economies by increasing the consumptions of local goods and providing more job opportunities. Thank you.